guys, it's Aria here, and welcome to Don't Eat the Cashier. Let's get it started. What are your pronouns? She, her. Your pronouns are she, her. Yes. I'll be type 2. You have a body type 2. What's your name? Well, my name's Aria. Nice to meet you. Your name is Aria. Yes, I just said that. Sometimes I really wonder, how did I end up here? Not that I dreamed of a career as a neurosurgeon or an astronaut, but for crying out loud, working at a gas station, on the other hand, money is money. I sent out resumes to every conceivable and inconceivable place, applying for every position where I could somehow use my degree in art. 0 responses. I had to swallow my pride and find at least something. I found this note stuck to the glass of the bus stop. Human organism wanted for work at gas station. Organism's duties include selling food for mouth silence and obedience, household tasks, obeying those who are more ancient, friendly team offers, new and old faces of friends, long and different life, consumption of nourishment, juicy juices, trips to human places. Food for mouth? Seriously? The guy's got a style of his own. Apparently the manager is just an eccentric dude, or is this their new marketing tactic to grab attention? Whatever. People often told me that I have my quirks too, and that's even if they haven't seen my fursuit. Well, whatever. As long as he's not a complete jerk who'll hit on me or make me scrub the floors with a toothbrush. Hello? I didn't scream. I couldn't move. My brain feverishly tried to find any category for this in its database. Hallucination? Psychosis? Too many energy drinks? A typical middle manager? The monster from my nightmare stirred. Its tentacles crept closer to the counter. My God. The creature made a sound, not from a mouth. It had none. The sound emanated from deep within its bulk, hollow, profound bone shaking. Greetings, organism. I'm Bob, the indescribable and terrifying consumer of worlds. But you, grain of sand, may call me Manager Bob. No. This isn't real. I'm dreaming. I need to wake up. You will sell food for mouths and obey me, for I am ancient. Memorize the rules of the establishment, for my patience is as limited as the salary I offer you. Ah! Rule number 1. You sell, no matter what. Chicken food for the mouth. Gremlin fuel. Noodles made from cursed souls. Lottery tickets for extra limb raffles. Discount rot. Ritual foil. Everything must be sold. He points directly at me with that creepy, slimy tentacle. Every miserable unit of currency brings me closer to my triumphant exit from this pitiful hole. I pinched myself, but didn't wake up. Rule number 2. Be polite to customers. Ignore bald spots in werewolf fur and watch out for drafts when ectoplasmic, energetic entities are in the store. What? But don't let them get too bold. Customers are just walking containers for currency, and they should only pay in monetary units. Payment in existential dread or hair of the dead is not accepted. Many of them come here just to chat because they are idle and purposeless organisms. Your task is to make them part with their currency anyway. It is also your duty to heal organisms if they are injured using special kits. If they die, they can't give away currency. Ah! Werewolves! Ectoplasmic entities? And what the hell are you anyway? Excuse me, dear sir. You seem to have mentioned werewolves and ectoplasm? My voice is as polite as possible. I managed to compress my primal screaming panic into a tight ball and shove it deep down. Werewolves? And that's not to mention that you yourself are a giant meatball with tentacles, damn you. I shall answer your question, curious polite organism. Werewolves and ectoplasmic entities are just a few examples of my many insightful life forms that require this establishment. What unites them is that they are all slaves to consumption, just like your kind. Oh, so consumerism. As for my nature, I am your immediate supervisor and garniture of your future financial prosperity. I'm at a gas station for monsters. I got a job with Cthulhu for minimum wage. This is all you need to know. That really is all I need to know. I fear any more knowledge will surely drive me insane. For the first time, something resembling approval flickered across Bob's many-eyed face. Oh, there is plenty of eyes. Oh, goodness. A rare and unexpected display of the grains of wisdom that have not yet left the human species. Embrace your ignorance, let it become your shield and direct path to the status of Human Employee of the Month. And what does the Human Employee of the Month get? A cash bonus of 25 cents. I understand that you, human, are already extremely excited about this, but that is not all. You will also have access to the elite manager's restroom for one full work cycle. During its use, there is only a 7% chance that you will be transported to a dimension of endless pain, suffering, and unimaginable torment. Truly generous. He suddenly places a jar in front of me on the counter. And the last rule, remember, organism, this tip container must be filled with money by the end of your wake cycle. If the bottom of the jar is visible, you will clean the sanitary rooms with this object in the dimension of absolute horrors and suffering for 2,510 years. Oh, it's a fork. I couldn't take my eyes off the fork, the potential tool for my eternal servitude. At this moment, my mind fully capitulated. Yes, I was hired by a multi-eyed cosmic architect squid. Yes, my clients will be non-humans. Yes, I'm being threatened with a fork and eternal toilet cleaning. How could anyone clean anything with a fork? The same will happen if you even think of escaping before the end of your work contract. My ocular sensorium perceives the subtlest of matters. It will detect you in any corner of this pitiful planetary sphere. Crap. I'm stuck here. I'm in a trap. Do you understand, organism? Yes, sir. Acceptable. Goodbye, organism. Good luck with your currency acquisition and button pressing. Could you show me exactly how... Yeah, can you show me how exactly to press the buttons? Point at the buttons at the vending machine. I point at the sticky buttons on the vending machine. Bob's central eye looks at my finger, then at the machine, then back to my face. The creature sighs. A tentacle extends from his body with torturous slowness. With the drama of a pianist playing the last tragic note, the tip of the tentacle presses down. Click. Bob waits expectantly. I got it. Your capacity for learning is phenomenal. This concludes the briefing. Remain as polite an organism as you are. He didn't turn around as a human would. His tentacles simply shifted his entire mass in another direction with a soft gurgling sound, and he waddled across the linoleum. Finally, he left me alone. The silence at the gas station was broken only by the hum of refrigerators containing juicy juices and the buzzing of the neon lamp above my head. I stood in the same spot as if rooted to the ground. My breath returned to me in a sharp, uneven gasp. My hands were shaking. The tip jar, which I needed to fill to avoid ending up in a dimension of ancient horrors, still stood proudly on the counter. Okay, so what just happened? Yes, that's it. I'm going to wake up on my couch in my dingy rented apartment. I pinched myself again. Nothing. I scanned the room once more. It smelled of gasoline and old coffee. It was still absurdly real. And that meant everything he said, it was all true. Werewolves, vampires, tips, the fork. My hysterical mix of laughter and a scream of terror welled up in my throat, but I held it back. I needed to get through this. I needed to. Hello? Oh no, don't tell me that's the first customer. Bells? What the hell? Ah! Crap. Where the hell did this clown come from? It took great effort not to look away from those red eyes during the pitch-black darkness. Is he amused? Is he wondering if I'm tasty? Bob didn't exactly give any guarantees that I wouldn't get devoured at work. My brain, still recovering from the encounter with Bob, was frantically trying to figure out how to break this ringing silence. Good evening, sir. What would you like to purchase? Purchase? I would like to purchase your attention. You're lucky, esteemed sir. My attention is on sale today. Ah, a bargain. But is it wise to put your best merchandise on discount? Anyway, I adore good bargains, especially when they are absolutely unfair. In a truly fair world, my dear soul, you'll be worth more than $6 an hour. Can a mere piece of paper reflect your uniqueness? Can even 6 of them, not even 20 cold, could? And I wouldn't mind 20 extra pieces of measly paper. Oh, that was me. Whoops! My god, another crazy person with a strange way of speaking. And it seemed he's in the mood for a chat. So, what is a beautiful, charming lady like you doing in such a dreadful, dirty island of misfortune? Or rather, what is a place like this doing in such a charming lady as yourself? Oh wait, where are my manners? I suppose I must introduce myself. I have many names, most of which are not fit to be spoken in the company of a lovely lady. The nicest I've heard is the Mad King, a title I plan to pass from me to myself for the coming centuries. However, my mortal mother named me Darien. Now may I have your hand? Sorry, my mother told me not to offer my hand to strangers or any other parts of me, sir. Or your highness. He burst into genuine, booming laughter. Your mother is a truly wise woman. A masterful stroke of self-preservation. I haven't been rebuffed so delightfully in, well, at least a century. Others prefer to use enchanted swords and pitchforks. They forget that words can wound too. But perhaps I can still melt your heart. But I have an eternity for that. Literally. May I know your name? My name is Arya. I am also a queen. The queen of the gas station. A queen, your majesty. Forgive my outrageous ignorance. I do not recognize the sovereign of this noble kingdom of oil and discounted juicy drinks. I humbly bow before you, your majesty of the midnight shift. Sorry I didn't send envoys ahead. I grant you my royal pardon. A pardon from the lips of the queen herself. How my wounded soul rejoices. I am redeemed, reborn in the light of your mercy. This act of mercy will be sung by the poets of my realm, those who can still rhyme, rather than just wallow in alcoholic oblivion. You know, my company has an especially interesting effect on the artistic types, as I've discovered. Nothing surprising there. It seems I've gone mad myself, or halfway there. Maybe it happened around the time I decided to become an artist. I am indeed exchanging silly jokes with some mysterious, toothy entity, as if it's nothing. Maybe I just adapt to this new profession really quickly? Or perhaps I had a stash of nerves of steel in a bag. I can't shake the feeling, though, that this clown is about to explode himself, or blow me up. I feel like my brain is turning to jelly. And I don't understand when we'll finally get to the point. I've been talking for 5 minutes, but it feels like an eternity. And I've got to somehow squeeze a tip out of the sky and not lose my mind. Two utterly impossible tasks when dealing with regular person, let alone another cosmic entity. So, let's finally get to the purpose of my visit. Finally. It's completely unknown to me. Oh, for crying out loud. There's nothing interesting in the assortment of the pathetic shack, except for you. So I'm buying your time. Let's have dinner. I'm sure you must be hungry. Oh, no. No, 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 no. Allow me to create a more pleasant atmosphere for us. I'm shivering from a gust of icy wind. He just teleported half of my gas station to a radioactive dump, or a radioactive dump to my gas station. And the jar is gone. My freaking jar. What a wonderful place for dinner. Radioactive cockroaches on the menu? Of course, a local delicacy, pan-fried in their own radioactive juices to preserve the flavor. Crispy on the outside, still alive on the inside, they grant you the most thrilling superpowers. However, I can't go long without familiar landscapes. Already ruined lands make me melancholic because all of the fun happened without me. Disgusting. Allow me. This is something seemingly less radioactive. Amazingly, I haven't thrown up yet. It feels like I've been flushed twice through the interdimensional toilet. I clear my throat. Seems like I'm sitting at a table. Much better, wouldn't you agree? Couldn't be better. It's beautiful here, and strange. Is this your home? Words of a true poet, Aria. My two favorite categories, strange and beautiful. This place is much more than a home. It's my cage and my greatest canvas for creativity. Every ugly tree, every mad toad, every eye-bearing mushroom, it's all a piece of me, a marvelous piece, except when the rock grows legs and start running. Including those that people make their homes out of. And now you're part of this place too. Isn't it wonderful? I'm slowly getting used to the landscape. The fireflies are quite charming. But I'd be better without the frog with a human face. What do you mean? It's so cute. Look at him. The frog notices me too. It lets out a sad croak and then looks at me with an expression of deep existential despair. Who's that? That's Lori, one of the brave souls who dare challenge my authority. My dear friend, who once walked the path of adventure. However, he didn't foresee the possibility of being turned into a frog on a whim. He even tried to wield the sword with his tiny froggy legs, fought to the end, a true warrior. Now, however, his foes are mosquitoes and bigger frogs. Tell me, dear, does he bother you? His little existential froggy crisis, I mean. Is it ruining the ambience? He looks at me with an interested expression. I don't mind, Lori. You don't mind? Excellent. I think he really sets the tone for the whole clearing. Aesthetically. A living monument to the consequences of poor life choices. Lori, did you hear that? The lady grants you a stay of execution. You may continue your pitiful, mosquito-infested existence. So, dinner? I'm sure you must be starving. Traveling between realities must be exhausting. This looks strange, but it smells delicious. Meat with honey? And next to the meat, a purple soup, possibly made from a less fortunate cashier. Whether the food is poisoned or not, if I refuse, His Highness might turn me into a frog too. So I pick up a fork from the table. And this is the most delicious thing I've ever tasted. It's 100 times better than these cheap instant noodles I usually buy at supermarkets. Even the fact that I'm currently in some other universe surprisingly doesn't seem to harm my appetite. It seems you enjoy our cuisine. My chefs have always managed to cook well on those occasions when I noticed it. I assure you, you won't regret this dinner. At least, not for the first half hour after the meal. Thank you for the food on my plate not staring back at me. Don't give me ideas. I might not be able to resist. To your fortune, however, I want your lovely eyes to look at me and only me, both the left and the right. I particularly like the right one. It has more spark. I poke at the food with a fork and watch the peculiar scenery from the corner of my eye. A silence hangs between us that might even be called cozy, where I under heavy narcotics. What's your favorite animal? Glad you asked. It's right here on your plate. Just kidding. But I do need some time to think. Let's see. The riding flea has its own charms. Very distinguished ones. Carnivorous butterflies are beautiful, but they're dumb and noisy. And as we know, the only empty inside makes a noise. Or what's in my head. It's always ringing. I think it's a dog. It loves its owner with all its heart, whether they're a saint or a serial killer, and doesn't notice the difference. It lives in a constant, joyful state of blissful ignorance and misplaced enthusiasm. A creature that finds endless joy in the utterly meaningless. It's truly inspiring. Dogs are the jesters of the animal world, and I adore them for it. Especially the small wrinkly ones. And what about you? Cats. To them, we're probably the jesters. Oh, indeed. They are the true rulers of this reality, tiny, furry gods of apathy and disdain, and we are their obedient, foolish caretakers. But I've been lucky enough to escape their tyranny and instead enjoy my own, and feed those around me. I return to my meal, and just as I chew another bite, I hear His Highness's voice. By the way, how does the meat taste? Is the human flesh tender enough? My fork freezes halfway. As tasty as the one I had the day before yesterday. Chew while looking him in the eye. You're the law here. I meet his gaze, slowly and with all authority, place a piece of meat in my mouth and begin to chew without breaking eye contact. I can't remember ever seeing someone in shock in my life. Not as tasty as the one I had the other day. Nah, Not as tasty as the one I had the day before yesterday. Chew while looking him in the eye. You're the law here. I meet his gaze, slowly and with all authority, place a piece of meat in my mouth and begin to chew without breaking eye contact. I can't remember ever seeing someone in shock in my life. His mad grin vanishes, his eyes widen, and his own fork freezes halfway to his mouth. For one precious, glorious, sweet moment, the Lord of Chaos is completely and utterly baffled. My dear, you are a true treasure. You didn't just call my bluff, you raised the stakes to the sky. No, it's certainly not human. It's just venison, as far as I can tell by taste. Not very intelligent. It's definitely not Timmy, our carpenter, who unexpectedly disappeared near the large kitchen cauldron, perfectly sized to fit in it. Definitely not. I've personally issued several decrees related to cannibalism, perhaps even concerning its prohibition, but that's beside the point. I rarely have visitors, and I'd like to tell you about other interesting guests. After all, it's the most fascinating thing I can share with you. For a place where mushrooms with eyes grow, it can be incredibly dull here. Shadows in the clearing thicken and stir. They detach from the gnarled trees, raising up from the ground the black ink, and spread across the wall. Dancing and intertwining, they prepare to perform at their master's whim. Behold, this incredibly crooked castle, my dear. Crooked to the point of absurdity, sadly. In reality, its curves look far more aesthetic, but give the creators some leeway for expressiveness. Many brave, not-so-bright souls have tried to conquer its terrifying, dark, eerie, crooked castle. So many that it became even more crooked. You see, the dreadful monster living there never liked being distracted from its important duties. Terribly important duties, like having long, deep conversations with its own reflection, or consorting recipes with raisins. Listen silently. The monster was a tyrant, a menace. He sowed chaos and disorder, mostly on purpose. He had countless opportunities for creativity and wasn't afraid to use them. He had some people believe they were pigeons, and others that they were grains. He wouldn't allow his best servants to have windows, fearing that the moon and both suns would get envious and want to take them away. And he demanded they seal the gaps in the doors as well. He locked wizards who came to him for magical gifts and giant laboratory and promised them power if they invented a kettle that could boil everything except water. Did they eventually invent the kettle? Invent it? Oh, they did much more. After 11 years of failed prototypes, a few explosions, and chemicals running away on their own legs, they succeeded. The kettle could boil, even bring memories, but not water. Water would instantly freeze, explode, and file it for divorce. I immediately rewarded them with a new invention idea. A cup with a sealed top and without a bottom. Let's see how they handle that. But I digress. But behold, a ray of light in the Dark Kingdom. The first hero, Sir Laurie, the righteous in all his clanging, self-important glory. He took a knee to rest briefly before the weight of his righteousness was bad for his health of poor back. Following rumors spread by the same monster, he fought his way through the monster's loyal subjects too. By the way, where did he even find them? Most of my subjects are too busy contemplating the color of suspenders for their suspenders, or lamenting their fate. I cherish them in their imperfection. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They were probably the most restless of them. Even story needs minions. In any case, our hero descends into the Grotto of Despair, the Grotto of Tentacles. Imagine the most sinister name you can conjure. Dang it.
I can't believe I can get results like this at home. That's how I felt here.
The Grotto of my parents, disappointment in me. The Grotto of Kidney Stones. The Grotto of Despair sounds about right. Indeed, it's a place where one can so wonderfully despair. Let's not get sidetracked. Into the Grotto of Despair, our hero descended to retrieve an artifact capable of defeating the Monster King. The Ring of Incredible Power. A bit shoddily crafted, but I assure you, it looks more aesthetic in real life. However, the brave knight didn't know that the incredible power of the ring lay in its 440-pound weight. That was its only magical property. The only incredible thing about the ring was its incredible stupidity and uselessness. The realization that he had spent weeks of his life on a divinely heavy paperweight, and the sudden crushing through that he should have become a baker instead of a hero just to get some sleep. Well, it broke his poor, noble mind. Not that this mind was ever intended for serious burdens. Not meaningfully waiting for him to continue. So the knight perished. But then along came Elmer Eagle-Eye. They say he earned his nickname by escaping from the enemy fortress. On the third day of his captivity, he noticed that the prison cell was lacking the fourth wall. An archer of legendary skill who tried to kill me with a precise shot. Constantly. During breakfast, while bathing, at balls, during sleep, and even while I was devising a plan to get rid of him. The audacity. I hate just killing them. Turning them into madmen is much more fun. And I bestowed a little curse upon the elf as well. I made it so that every time he drew his bowstring, he heard the most annoying melody in his ears. Elmer was a terrible racist. He hated dwarves, so naturally the melody became the national anthem of the dwarves, played to a loop by a bagpipe orchestra. The pure rage it provoked derailed his aim every time. Eventually, he stormed the castle, dropped his bow, and begged for a job at my court in exchange for changing the song to anything else. He was desperate, and I was a villain. Everything aligned incredibly well. Now he's my royal huntsman. The dwarf march is replaced with a lively elven sea shanty, and let no one dare accuse me of being callous and heartless. Now he has a salary, good food, clothing, entertainment, and a full guarantee of non-dismemberment. He missed the opportunity to change his dwarf national anthem to dwarf serenades. Arya, where were you before? Horse odes in comparison to long stalactites? Endless rhymed verses about the shine of a beloved's beard. It's a refined, devilish thing. Why didn't I think of it myself? To torment a man not with sounds of war and patriotism. I can't read. To torture a man not with sounds of war and patriotism, but with the clumsy, heartfelt caterwauling of a species he despises, turning a love song into an instrument of pure, heart-wrenching agony. Brilliant. Well, I'll steal your idea for the future. And finally, the witch, with a classic giant hat, under which you could easily fit another witch. She tried a different approach. Seduction. She attempted to charm me, to gain my trust, to become my spouse. A fatal miscalculation. She didn't consider the fact that I never trusted big hats, or people, especially when both came hand in hand. And those who were suspenders and a belt at the same time. A person who doesn't even trust their own pants certainly doesn't earn the trust of His Highness. Then again, I don't trust His Highness either. I don't trust myself, especially the left side of my brain, especially on Thursdays. But back to hats. I hate big hats too. You are my kindred spirit. Those hats are so pretentious, so self-assured. They block the view, get stuck in doorways, and always hint that the wearer is compensating for something. Usually lack of magical talent, or a pitiful personality, and that's on a good day. You, my dear Arya, have impeccable taste in headwear, and consequently in everything else. It's a scientifically proven fact. Meanwhile, the witch was quite overt in her murderous intentions, jingling with all her concealed weapons. Why does a witch need so many hidden blades? She must have been very bad at witchery. In any case, she now resides in my dungeon, and you see, I haven't decided what to do with her yet. Her fate is a blank state, a story yet to be written, so I offer you the pen. I simply adore random choices. Give me yours, Arya. What punishment benefits her? What? Does he really want me to decide what to do with a real person? Can I even save her? And does it matter what I choose? Everything here follows his whims anyway. But as long as I play the curious monkey, I have a chance to get out of here alive. Maybe I should just entertain him. Damn, what should I do? That would be the craziest thing. I think the craziest thing would be to spare her. No one would expect that. A quiet chuckle escapes his lips. Using mercy as a weapon of chaos, are we? To forgive her, not out of kindness, but because it's the most illogical, unpredictable, and therefore maddening thing. She'll spend her life waiting for me to change my mind, waiting for me to jump out from behind a tree and send her back to the dungeon. Wonderful. Such incredible psychological torment. So be it. Well, at least she'll be alive. Something's missing from this tale. You never told me about the monster itself. Dear, who cares about these monsters anyway? I do. If the monsters are the muck, then I'm the pig, you see? How eloquent. Alright. I must admit, this will be my first performance like this. Darian sounds a bit bewildered, it seems. Allow me to just toss my mind up and see how it lands. You see, the monster was originally much more modest and less majestic. But we all have to start somewhere, right? Then, my head suddenly became a bit crowded. First whispers, then arguments, then full-fledged discussions that had to be participated in and involved inanimate objects. Guests in ajar doors, closets, even in cookie jars. Every container a potential foe. And I was surrounded by containers. To be fair, sometimes they told funny stories. But why was I afflicted with this curse? Pondering it drives me mad, even more so. It seems the question is meant for me. Oh, that was me. It seems the question is meant for me. Were you cursed for arrogance? Greed? Did you touch a cursed artifact? Maybe some ring of yours. Does your family have anything in common with the Habsburgs? Hi, little boy. You're not allowed to be on my desk. Did you touch a cursed artifact? Maybe some ring of yours? Dear, I'm afraid you've confused cause and effect. It's I who drive rings mad, not the other way around. Any poor innocent artifact I happen to touch might start screaming uncontrollably, or try to ask those around it about the meaning of their lives. No, I'm afraid it's a bit more banal. It's all about rotten blood, too pure. I beg your pardon. My great-grandfather issued a decree forbidding death from old age, and a distant aunt believing a colony of sentient mold was living in her walls, claiming her inheritance. But I always thought that I would be spared of this fate. I had to be temporarily isolated to avoid embarrassing guests at royal balls, with the young prince pointed at noble lords and saying, "Ha ha, the gnomes finally got out from under my bed." What a misfortune for the entire family, except for those in line for the throne before me. My death would have solved many problems for my family, and indeed, many of my own problems too. I made a decision. We made it, to be precise. There was already a whole council of us by then. However, chaos had other plans. A god, a goddess, a cosmic serial error, a cosmic clerical error. I don't know. Something ancient and terribly bored found itself a new source of entertainment. It offered me a throne. I own my own corner of reality to rule, where the fragments of my mind would become the laws of the land. No more restrictions, or pants for my subjects if I wished. My subjects, at first, they disagreed, but then they came to terms, or their minds changed to fit the new realities. And here I am. A dramatic silence ensues. Perhaps I am the first being to hear the story. In the centuries of this existence, I must choose my next words carefully. How can you just lock a family member in a tower? It's unthinkable. Very easily, my dear. A royal legacy is a delicate, crystalline sculpture. And I was a crack in its foundation, in the shape of an indecent male organ. No wonder they covered me with a napkin. Do you really sympathize with someone who dragged you into this dimension to tell stories and feed you purple goo? People never cease to amaze me. Touch his hand. Following a strange impulse, I reach out to his hand resting on the table. His gaze slowly follows my movement, lowering to our hands. This time, no commentary. Instead, his thumb begins to trace patterns on the back of my hand with surprising tenderness. The shadows finally dissolve into nothingness. I just saved someone from a terrifying fate in the hands of a madman. I feel a certain pride. It will be a pleasant addition to the horror I felt for the past hour. I'm afraid royal duties await me. Our time is up. I shall send you back, Arya. I rise from the chair, and suddenly I feel a press against my back. One of his hands grips me just above the crook of my elbow, while the other gently rests under my chin, tilting my head back until my ear into my ears just a couple centimeters from his lips. But don't think for a second that this is goodbye. It was merely an overture. His voice, usually so mocking and calm, now sounds eerily sinister. A cold thumb lightly strokes the line of my jaw. I try to suppress a shiver. You were a very interesting, incredibly curious guest. Possibly the most curious one I've had in centuries. And I've found that I don't want our acquaintance to end here. It's terribly unfair that you've learned a couple of my secrets and revealed so few of yours, isn't it? I can't tell whether he's flirting or threatening. Both, perhaps? A bird trapped in a cage of bills, failures, and endless anxiety. How high could you fly once a cage is opened? Your shift will end, the sun will rise, and you'll want to head home, perhaps on something more elegant than a bus, maybe in a carriage of polished bones. We will meet again, Arya, very, very soon. And next time, I will let you go so quickly. I squeeze my eyes shut. The light is blinding, even with my eyes closed, so unusual after all this darkness. The jar is full of money. It was all worth it. Oh, and that is where I will end. That was truly amazing, and I think I made a new friend. Thank you guys so very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!